Okay, we are live. Hey, everybody, I am here with Monte Weaver, and we're gonna get started this morning with a quick introduction. So, let's see. Today we got a powerhouse in the house, Monte Weaver. Monte has been helping creators, influencers break free from burnout and bounce back stronger with smart, strategic ways to monetize. He's a pro at everything from live streaming and live shopping. Sorry about that. You know what I did? I have two things going on at the same time. So I had Zoom going on and LinkedIn, and now I can't find. it.
Find them windows again.
Sorry about that. You know what I did? I have two things going on at the same time. Yeah, one day I'm going to be a professional at this.
Yeah. I was telling someone yesterday, I said, we got to produce our own shows. I said, one day it'll come where someone else will produce it for us.
Good thing there's editing.
Yes.
Okay, let me start over. Today we have a powerhouse in the house, Monty Weaver. Monty has been helping creators and influencers break free from burnout and bounce back stronger with smart strategic ways to monetize. He's a pro at everything from live streaming and live shopping, digital marketing, and content creation, and he knows exactly how to turn casual views into loyal fans. Since 2016, he's been working with creators, influencers, and entrepreneurs to grow their audience, scale their impact, and avoid the dreaded hamster wheel of content burnout. Today, he's pulling back the curtain on his system search, suggest, and subscribe, a three-step strategy to capture attention and transform strangers into subscribers with actual stick around. So, summateers, get ready to take note, drop questions in the chat, and leave with a 30-day action plan you can put into motion immediately. Please help me welcome Monty Weaver. Welcome, Monty.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, Erica. I am more than excited to be here to hang out with you and your guests and followers and your subscribers. Uh, it's always fun to be able to share insight into things that I've seen that have worked for other people, and then obviously things that have worked for myself. But more importantly, to be able to like form it in a way that can work for someone else as well. So we're going to be talking about search, suggest, and growing that subscriber base or that follower base. But if we use the three S's, it just kind of works better. So search, suggest, and subscribe. I have some screen slides I'm going to share with you also. You're definitely more than welcome to engage. I love the ability to engage live. But I want to go through this, and I love simplicity. You'll see one of the words in here as I use workflows. Things have to just make sense. If they don't make sense, then you'll definitely not use any of this information. So I really consider all of that when I'm getting ready to teach or provide a level of education. So without further ado, let me go ahead and share my screen. So you guys will get to see a little bit of my preview screen as well. So let's make sure we do this. We just did this right. My teleprompter always wants to do something funky here. There we go. The tech guy should be able to get it right, right? All right. You guys should see my screen. You see my cheat sheet slides on the left. I use my cheat sheet slides. I know a lot of presenters on the big board, they use this to full screen, but I like my cheat sheet slides because it helps keep me on pace because I will deviate in a hot minute if I see a comment or a question that I can answer and I'll be like, where did I leave off? So I like to have my cheat sheet slides. So y'all don't go past me on my cheat sheet slides. All right. Real quick here about me. Like Erica said, she already gave me the introduction. So I let people know when they ask, "What do you do?" I say, "I create content." So my content can vary. between product review videos, a YouTube video. It could be on Zoom. I have a camera over here capturing some BTS. So I'm always just creating content, and content is what people are looking for these days. They're going on social media, they're going on these digital platforms, and they're able to consume what we put out there, which is content essentially. So a lot of my content does focus around tech. So in 2016, I really began showing up online talking to people about how they could leverage technology with live streaming software. We saw introduction of Facebook Live at that time, and when it was coming out, I was already thinking about bigger picture other than just going live from your smartphone. I I just kind of figured people would go live from their computers at some point, show presentations, and be able to show video and text at the same time, like they were watching something on TV. So in 2016, that's what I was talking about, not just let me go live from my phone from the beach where you get pixelated reception and we can't hear you because you want to mount the phone way over by the water and all we hear is the wave. We can't hear anything you have to say. Or maybe you're speaking on stage and having a presentation and you put the phone in the audience, it's pointed to you on stage, but we can't see you or we can't hear you. So all of those different aspects I was kind of leaning into, and then I began to demonstrate it in real time by going to different lunch and learns for the housing industry, for mortgage professionals, real estate professionals. And I'd take my own camera, I mic myself up, and I would demonstrate in real time, like, okay, this is how it'll make more sense if you want to capture your content this way. So, giving people the tools that they could essentially go out and do it themselves to create really good content. So, and then more recently, in the last couple of years, last few years, I've been building communities. One of my biggest communities is around the Amazon Influencer Program. I think that community has like over 2,000 people inside of it. It's in a Facebook group, free to join it. So people, as they began to, be interested in the topic, there was a place for them to go. The reason I started the community is because I couldn't find one. And so part of what we'll talk about in this audience growth talk today is, creating content and creating areas where people can come to learn, to better themselves, to be inspired, to have fun. You can have communities for just about everything. And so this particular community was around one specific topic. Hey, people want to review products on Amazon and get paid for it. Okay, here's a place where you can come and learn how to do it, have Q&A and all that good stuff, right? So we all have either built a community or we have some type of audience that is essentially connected in some form or fashion, which is essentially a community. And my favorite platforms to create on personally, as we talk about search content and how to have videos suggested to people, my favorite content platforms are YouTube and Amazon. I've used quite a few. If you've used any of these in the past, let me know. There was a platform called Blab back in the day. It was four people, and you would literally download the app. I think that was the first video based social media app I used. And you literally could come into a room and it was just four people. And you would have conversations amongst yourselves. You couldn't put text in or nothing like that in the chat, but you could blab. You just talk to four people. So that was my first introduction to kind of video, being on camera. And then I used a platform called Periscope. Periscope was a more one-way video conversation, so I could show up on camera and have a conversation with the audience, and the audience would engage in the chat. And that was the real platform that I began to have some traction and momentum on. I still have people that I've connected to as a result of showing up on Periscope years and years and years ago. So it was very fun platform for me to be on. It worked very well for the content that I was creating, and the timing of it was just really good as well. Then I'm beginning to dabble more into Facebook Live, begin to show up there a little bit more consistently as Periscope was actually fading away and being shut down essentially. But I really didn't get the traction and the momentum that I really wanted until I jumped on YouTube. So YouTube is where I've built my base since 2020. And then at the same time in 2020, I was introduced to Amazon having a space where I could create search based content. I could connect with people. And so many people still, even to this day in 2025, don't know that Amazon has a place where creators can upload and create content. So that's where I like to focus. And like I mentioned at the very beginning, my keys, things that I focus on, if you've been around me long enough, you'll hear me reference certain things over and over again. I'm a big proponent of maximizing my time. Me and Erica were chatting just before we got jumped on here, just celebrated 5 years of being married. Before the 5 years, I had 24 hours a day, 7 days a week to Monte. And so I realized very quickly I don't have as much time as I used to. My daughter, she'll be 4 here later in the year. So the time element has decreased in how much time I can dedicate to creating content. So I really have to think through what that looks like, and I have to make sure that I'm maximizing that time. I'm big on workflows. Literally had a conversation with someone yesterday that's looking to start a podcast, and I brought up the word workflows, and I knew I threw him off because uh, I was telling him, I know you love your idea and what you want to create. You even have a game plan around it. That's great. But what does that look like for you to stay consistent with it, where you won't wake up that day and say, you know what, I just don't feel like recording today because I don't feel like messing with the camera. He wants to create content that allows him to be mobile. So he may be in the house, he may be in the den, he may be in the kitchen, he may be outside on the deck, but then he also may be golfing or fishing, and he wants to create these podcasts around that. Well, if you're outside fishing and you forget that you got to hit the record button, you're supposed to be creating this podcast. Like, what do these roadblocks actually potentially look like? So how can we identify them up front? Because he's not a technical person. He doesn't do anything technical. He wants to show off his hobbies. And if you're doing your hobbies, now you're including this other element. I've got to create content. I've got to put a microphone on. I got to make sure I got a light on me so people can actually see me. So it's these different workflows that you start to uncover, and workflow systems that make things easy for you will actually allow you to create more content and create it consistently. Okay. And then burnout prevention. I've burnt out. I've burnt out twice. I have tried to create, yeah, raise your hand. If you burnt out, yeah, put it in the chat. I burnt out twice. Once my own doing. I was just trying to do too much. I was trying to stay involved in everything. I always got to know what's going on because I actually prided myself on kind of being first to market on some things. But now that everything is so wide, there are so many different tools, there are so many different platforms. I couldn't learn it all. Like it literally got to a place where I can't help everyone with every platform or every piece of technology. It's just too many right now. So that was a burnout thing for me. And then right after the COVID years, being in video production and being able to live stream people's events, going flying out to events, throwing a mask on, like all these different elements, I was in demand. People were looking for people like me and Erica. Like, hey, if you knew tech, how to work a camera and a microphone, oh, you were getting phone calls from weddings and funerals to bar mitzvahs, like everything, sporting event. And then when you're doing that type of service by yourself as a solo creator, or maybe contracting some people out, but you're running the business, you're running the marketing, you're doing the events physically, like I could not sustain that type of work because I'm also trying to create the behind the scenes content for my YouTube audience. Here's how to live stream a baseball game. So I've got to live stream the game, but I'm also in my mind creating content to explain it to a YouTube audience member. It's a lot of work trying to do these different things. So burnt out twice, not doing that anymore. So what I've done is built frameworks for myself that have worked pretty well over the last couple of years that allows me to show up and create the content consistently, but also be able to sustain myself, take breaks. Like I will take a break. Invested in a PS5 just to play games, to take a break, to step back. Sometimes I play a little bit longer than I need to, but it's a good reminder like, hey, I don't have to show up on social media all the time to still get the same results, right? So those are my keys that I principles that I kind of stick to. All right. So now that I've gotten all that blabbing out of the way, no pun intended to the earlier reference of that app, we'll jump into my agenda here. We'll talk about the power of digital. It's a very, very, very powerful thing right now. My introverts, I'm talking to you. If you don't like being on camera, I'm talking to you. The people that don't want to hit the post button because it's not that relevant or important. I'm talking to you. Like the littlest pieces of content that we may think in our mind can be very, very impactful, and people gravitate towards them. We'll talk about the stages of audience growth. I'm really happy to kind of talk about this topic because I want to hit on some things that I think we know, but we overlook. We don't really consider. And then I want to give you guys an audience growth plan. If you want to grow an audience, I'm going to give you a little plan. I think it works pretty well. If you stick to it, I think you'll see some really cool results based on it. So, in the chat, wherever you're watching, I would love for you to put in your biggest challenge right now in growing your audience. What you're trying to grow Instagram, you're trying to grow YouTube, you're trying to grow Facebook or TikTok or X or Threads. Like there's already more than I can mention. My head is exploding, right? What is your biggest challenge with growing these platforms? Do you just not have the ideas? The chat GPT isn't giving you what you want idea wise? You got to record a video and then you don't know how to work your camera that you've had in the closet for 5 years. You go to upload something, but the software is working. So you're like, you know what? I'm not doing this right now. Time. That's always one of the ones I see. There's not enough time in a day for me to create content. Um, Maybe you're like me a little bit and you're kind of a perfectionist. If you're like you record it and then you realize, Dad, there was something on my shirt. I gotta re-record the whole thing. And then you get a phone call, and then you get distracted and then nothing happens, right? Like all of these different things happen that cause us to either not want to do the thing that we're supposed to be doing, or we just stall and it takes way too long to actually get it done. And these things that we know we need to do on social media and these digital platforms are things that need to be done for us to help grow our audience. So let me know, put it in the chat. All right. So what I like to do is take that step back. One of the things that you learn after burnout and even during burnout is the fact that there are too many things pulling you in too many directions, right? And when you're trying to actually focus on a task, and in this case, we're talking about how do I increase my visibility online. Okay. When I take a step back, let me look at the landscape of what's going on right now in the world today, 2025 today, right? Because it's way different from when I started in 2016. 2025 today, we see right now everybody is on the AI trend bandwagon. Everybody is trying to understand how to use it, how to implement it, what software is out there, how can I make money from it. Like AI in itself has a whole bunch of different different layers to it where people's attention is all over the place, right? And then we look at, okay, what do I as a consumer do with digital? Me personally, I'm a YouTube watcher. It's nothing for me to have YouTube on a TV behind me and just have it on sometimes. Like sometimes I'm not even watching; it's just on, but it's on YouTube, right? Um, Netflix, you sit down and watch a movie, and then you're flipping through everything. You got Hulu, you got Amazon Prime. There, we all know, like y'all have heard this. If you got kids, young kids, if you got nieces, nephews, grandkids, you all know my 3-year-old knows how to work a TV all by herself, all by himself. You already heard it, so I'm not gonna tell you. Mine does the same thing. She works her own personal TV at home. Hey, find me Minnie on YouTube, and it works. She knows how to do it. She goes over to grandma's house. Grandma's TV works a little bit different. She knows how to put it in the search. Starts to type in an MI, and she'll hit the search, and it'll pop up Minnie. So she knows how to navigate it, right? So there are so many different platforms and places where our attention can go compared to what it was a few years ago. So I know this going into it. I know this going into being found in search isn't as easy as it was in 2016. So I have to be comfortable and okay with that. So how do I sift through? How do I carve out my own space so people can actually find me online when they're looking for something. Okay. So I want you to pick a platform. And you may have heard this before. I'm going to repeat it to you again. Pick a platform. If you try to, in yourself, manage and do all of these platforms on your own, you will burn out. You cannot sustain trying to keep up with all the updates, all the changes, all the comments, all the lack of comments, all the things that are said in the comments that make you want to. If you can't sustain all that by yourself. So if you can pick and back up, pick one or two platforms that you can just focus in on, that is going to help streamline your focus. Okay. We're not going to really talk the money conversation here today, but once you start to monetize and you're making profit, outsource the other stuff, create content, yeah, outsource all. Hey, I'm just gonna manage it, and then at some point you have to just pay someone else to manage it, or maybe you just don't even want to be bothered with it altogether. That's fine because you have enough lead flow and enough traction for one or two platforms on its own. Okay, one of the guys I follow online, he literally has built his entire business just around a 1 hour podcast once a week. That's his whole content creation strategy. He'll record some behind the scenes with it and some other little content that goes along with it, but it's him doing a podcast 1 hour a week and just optimizing the heck out of it so it can be found in search. That's his strategy. And it works. It really does work. So when you're picking your platform, I tell people, okay, let's think about let's get in the viewer's shoes. Would you watch your own content where you're currently posting it right now? Would you? I'm not a Facebook person. I'll go through and scroll, but I don't find myself consuming content and then wanting to take an action. I had the toilet at the house was just acting crazy the other day, or a couple weeks ago. And it's still acting crazy. I thought it was fixed. It's still acting crazy. I didn't find myself going to YouTube trying to figure out how to fix the toilet. I went to YouTube trying to figure out how to fix the toilet. And I went through rabbit hole videos trying to figure out how to fix the toilet. I didn't go to LinkedIn trying to figure out how to fix the toilet. Like, so there's certain industries where certain platforms kind of work a little bit better than others. Um, I'm on LinkedIn's on my phone, right? And I saw this one job opportunity come up and I was like, "Ooh, this is cool." It was like a digital creator. I follow all these digital creator jobs. And I saw this one pop up and it was in my local area. And I was like, "Oh man, that looks really, really cool of a job to do." And it had you traveling around the country with this company and it looked cool. My wife is not gonna fly for that. Like we ain't leaving 50% of the time to do this job. But it but I don't find that on YouTube. Like certain things are found on certain platforms. They work a little bit better, right? What do I like to watch? I like to watch educational type of videos. I like things that I can kind of consume in the background, like I told you before. I like to watch airplane takeoff and landing videos. Don't ask me why, because I hate flying, but I just like watching the content. And as a viewer, okay, if I'm spending all this time on a particular platform, then that may be the platform I need to lean into a little bit more. There's some people that love to be on platforms like X or Thread or somewhere they can use text to respond back. They easily have access to 256 characters. They can easily leave a comment in written form, right? So wherever you like to live on social media, wherever you're spending the majority of your time, go to your phone, like, where am I spending my time on this phone? Okay, on this app, that may be the platform you want to spend a little bit more time in for yourself as a creator as well, so that you can get found and search going forward. Think about platforms that are fun for you. If it feels like it's going to be work, it's probably going to be work and you're not going to sustain it. Just save yourself 3 months. I'm telling you right now. If you do not like doing it and you know you really got to force yourself to do it, it might be a little bit work for you. And think about platforms that are a little bit unique. If you scroll through the App Store, there are a lot of platforms that aren't household names, but have people on those platforms. I got an email from a company and they are a very similar brand to YouTube in itself. And I'm like, the layout looks cool and, the search function looks cool. They don't have enough viewers on the platform for me right now at this moment. But I'm like, man, if I wanted to go in on this platform, I could easily stand out on this platform by creating content there because there's no one else on this platform right now that is really creating consistent content. So think about platforms that may not be, your YouTube, your Facebooks, your Instagram, but they are platforms in the App Store. There are users on the platform, and there are potentially people that want what you have on that platform. They want to follow you. So don't limit yourself to what you may just see public front facing all the time. Go through your App Store. I say App Store because I'm an iPhone guy. Just saying. Just saying. iPhone's the best. Um, when you showing up on these platforms, um oh, that's a wrong slide right there. Oh, let me fix that right there. I'm like, what is that right there? I thought that was my members feedback one. I'm gonna get to that here in a little bit. All right, let's jump down here. Here's a little mind map, and I know it's a little bit difficult to see, but the illustration is diversified attention. Here's so many different places where people are online these days. But this also gives us the opportunity to be found in search in a lot of different places, right? Uh, One of the places that I'm personally working on is how can I be found better in search in ChatGPT? What phrases do people need to type in ChatGPT where Monty Weaver shows up as number one, number two, or number three, preferably number one? So, what are these different phrases that are people are typing into Instagram search? What are these different phrases that people are typing into their Hulu TV when they're looking for something programming wise? I recorded a video. Hopefully, the editing should be done here this week, where I'm thinking about future proofing my content because we see YouTubers that we know for YouTube, or creators that we know for YouTube, but their content is now being shown on Amazon, Hulu, and Netflix. So the doors are continually being open to where we can be found when someone goes and types in search. Do you want to be found for your name in search? Okay, let me start creating content that has my name in everything. Do I want to be found for specific search titles? How do I fix a toilet? Do I want to be known as the plumber? How do I fix a toilet? And just create a whole bunch of content around that one thing over and over and over and over again. I have a coach, and I remember years ago he'd tell me this, and it helped me so much. He said, "Get used to repeating yourself." I hate repeating myself. I am the guy that if I tell you, like that's it. Like I don't feel the need to have to keep reminding you over and over and over again. I'm even with my daughter, like I'm not gonna keep telling you over. You already know. You just get the look at this point. She knows what the look means. I don't have to keep reminding her. Eat your food. I don't want it. And then eventually she'll get to it because I'm not gonna keep repeating it over again. And he said, get comfortable repeating yourself over and over and over and over again. And that's what content creation really is to be found in search. I'm kind of jumping ahead, but if you want to be found, you have to be known for something. There has to be a phrase, there has to be words, there has to be a framework that is associated with you. And the more content that you put out that consistently talks about the same thing over and over and over again, that's how you discover it in this wild, wild west world, digital world that we're in right now. Okay. So let's talk about search. Search is the most important part of this equation. Search suggests subscribe. If you are not being discovered online, no one's going to suggest you the platforms or an individual word of mouth. That's not going to happen, and people are definitely not going to follow you, subscribe to you, and be a loyal follower of you online. Okay, so let's dive into search here, and I know when we get to Q&A, this is where I would assume, I would hope. I'm not going to assume. I would hope most of the questions come from is the search component here. I had a little cute graphic over here that's just not displaying for some reason, but um, So search, what do you want to be known found for? Okay. So I've already kind of mentioned that. I'm not going to double down on that too much. But if I type in the phrase on YouTube, and you guys are more than welcome to type this phrase in. If you type in PTZ cameras on YouTube, Monty Weaver better show up in search. He better show up in search because that is what a lot of people have come to my channel and subscribed for because I talked about these particular types of cams. I've talked about them on a regular basis. I don't have everything turned on today, Erica, but there are 6 PTZ cameras in here right now where I literally could switch between boom, 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 boom. And 3 of them have AI tracking on it. So I can literally get up, walk around, and they'll follow me and stuff like that. I spent a lot of time in the PTZ camera world. So online, when people first discover me, chances are they're first discovering me not because of a microphone, not because of a home studio setup, not because of a podcast. They're typing in, how do I use a PTZ camera? What is a PTZ camera? How can I set up my PTZ camera for a church? Why is my PTZ camera not working? The phrase PTZ cameras is kind of what I'm known for when it comes to search. Okay. So that's the last I'm gonna say about that part of it. What do you want to be known for? Think about that phrase that you can be discovered for online. Mine just happens to be PTZ cameras. I just kind of stumbled into it because no one else was creating content for that particular type of camera. Okay. So think about the gaps in your marketplace. They may not be the big gap that you want to focus in on. Like I love my PTZ cameras. But this mirrorless camera right in front of me has a way better quality image, way better quality image than my PTZ cameras. But I love my PTZ cameras. So I have to stay that's what gets people into my search ecosystem. And then from the search ecosystem, then I can talk about, oh, PTZ camera versus a mirrorless camera. Like I still got to do that video. Whew, y'all be patient with me. Still got to do that video. But PTZ cameras is how I get them in. How do I connect my microphone to my PTZ cameras? Okay, now I can talk about microphones a little bit more. But the entry point was search and PTZ cameras. Okay. What are some common questions that you can and you already do answer? Okay. Don't being found in search isn't about being the most intellectual, being the most brilliant mind. It's what are these basic phrases that you can let me let I don't want to use the toilet example anymore. I'm going to use something a little bit closer to home here. All right. So my daughter's is learning her letters, right? She's learning. Well, she knows her letters. She's learning to use words now. So cat. She has to literally unlock the iPad with cat, right? But when I try to help, how can I, as a father, teach her how to recognize words? When I go to YouTube, I see the same lady, Miss Rachel, every single time. Every single time. Even when I'm not necessarily looking for a video that she has, she like keeps popping up every single time. I can type in something else and she'll pop up. She answers the questions that I have on a regular basis. She's not teaching me anything different than like something she came up with, right? She's not teaching me some concept. She's just teaching me the answers to what I'm looking for. And if we create content for what people are looking for, then you get discovered in search because they're actually looking for that thing. When you start to use these big words or these phrases that the outside world is not familiar with, you're not going to get discovered as easily. It's big in the finance world, right? You start talking about Roth IRAs and deferred, diversified, like the basic novice is like, how can I make money? How can I keep my money safe? How can I protect my money? How can I grow my money? Very simple words that we learn in elementary school, right? Those are the phrases that we want to focus in on. And then once we get people finding us in search, then we can create other content later, either behind a paywall or maybe that's what your actual service does. That's when you spend the time to educate your viewer because they're probably going to be at that point a subscriber or a buyer. They're ready to buy your service, right? So when I talked about PTZ cameras earlier, when people found my videos because of PTZ cameras, it's okay. Can you come install a PTZ camera for me now? Or hey, I need tech support on this PTZ camera, right? So that's when it becomes more of okay, they found me in search. Now I'm moving them down this ecosystem, down this ladder, okay, or up this ladder rather. All right. Um, let's jump down here. I'm gonna see. I love this topic. I almost spent way too much time on that section. I'm over here looking at the clock. I was like, I gotta speed it up. Couple resources for y'all. Answerthepublic.com. You can go in and see the search volume of what people are looking for. It's a cheat code. Go to answerthepublic.com, type in a phrase, okay, in your industry, what are people looking for? Chances are it's going to show up here somewhere. Trends.google.com, another cheat code. What's trending right now? What's a topic that I can talk about right now because there's a lot of people searching for it? I was doing a video on one of my other channels during the NBA draft, and I kind of positioned it as a creator. Like, what is if I could draft my top 5 creators? Who would they be? And it was the NBA draft. So people were typing in NBA draft, and I was doing like creator draft, but I had a basketball logo in the thumbnail. So playing off trends, video did pretty well. Just saying. So trends, are something that you can definitely consider, and simrush.com as well. So those are my 3 little search tools that I like to play with. I also like YouTube as well. I took that was on my list originally, but I took it off because I knew I was already going to talk a lot about YouTube, so I didn't want y'all to feel I was completely biased towards YouTube. I was just saying. Now, once you get found in search, then these algorithms begin to start to pick you up. Suggested content, okay? Like I mentioned earlier, Miss Rachel, because I was looking for other educational type of content, she just kept showing up in my feed. I love it when platforms start to suggest, say, hey, I think based off what you just consumed that you want to watch this other type of content or this content of a similar nature from someone else or another source. When I first started YouTube in 2020, about 65% of my views came from suggested content, my video being suggested by the algorithm itself. So I started to play into that a little bit more. What does that mean, Monty? It means you see what's working, what people are looking for, and you create a very similar video in your own style, in your own framework that's already getting views. And how do you know it's getting views? Because you're looking at the piece of content yourself. Oh, this Instagram video got 10 million views. It must be working. Like 10 million views. Like it must be working. I always tell people how to cook with rice. If you cook, if your video is anything related to cooking and you have not made a video about how to cook rice, you're missing it. I dare you. After we get done, go on YouTube and type in how to cook rice. May sound as simple as anything, but how many views? And you will see a lot of videos that have a lot of views on how to cook rice. I don't cook. Guess who would go and watch that video? Just saying. Follow what's working, right? Copy the frameworks. This essentially is when you watch a video, don't watch it just to be watching a video, but look and see some of the dynamics that are happening in the video. Can you actually see the person? Can you actually see the product? Can you actually hear them? Um, what's the setting look like? If they're talking about I'm on vacation, but they're in their house, does it kind of align? If you're talking about vacation, I kind of want to see some water or some palm trees or something more relaxing behind you. Like you start to look at these elements of the videos that are working, right? Are they doing something education and they're showing screen share? Like, are they, do they talk in a certain cadence where it's easy to follow, or are they just all over the place? As you watch content, you'll be able to pick up these clues of things that people watch. Sometimes we live in these bubbles of this is how it works, but we're not exposed to anything else. I was having this conversation with someone yesterday, and he was talking to me about how he's showing his 13-year-old daughter how to invest and how she has gold and how she has some property. And he was like, I want to have these conversations. I said, they're good conversation to have. I said, but you also have to keep in mind most of your demographic of people, or is going to think this is foreign because they've never been exposed to this. I said, you're going to have to do some type of element of showing and not just sitting and talking about you're doing this thing because all you're doing is talking about it. Anyone can sit behind a camera. This is 2025. Anybody can sit behind a camera and a microphone and talk and say anything they want to. So until you can kind of prove that you're not AI with through some B-roll, like you might have to go out to that property and film some footage or something, you know. So we kind of got to think about how can I really bring people into my ecosystem, right? So, and you'll see the different things that are working in videos. So if you recreate that video in your style, in your own format, in your own voice, the algorithm will probably pick you up and say, "Hey, here's a similar video that you should watch as well." Jumping down here, man, Erica, bring me back again. Part two. Subscribe. At the end of the day, we want people to follow us. It could be subscribe, it could be follow, it could be maybe you don't click either button, but every time my video shows up, you want to watch it because some people just don't click subscribe. Some people just don't click follow for whatever reason. They don't even know the button exists in some cases. But every time they post a piece of content, they just want to follow. I've done that. I'm guilty of that. There's some channels I'm like, I don't subscribe to it, but I watch it every time they show. I just the algorithm keeps giving it to me every time they upload. Why do I need to subscribe? So I'm that guy. Sometimes I try to support all my creators, um, but getting someone to be a complete stranger to a subscriber, I think we underestimate what all happens in that whole process. Someone that has never heard of you. I'm gonna jump down here. I'm gonna skip some slides for the sake of time here. We need a plan that we can actually stick to. Here's the 30-day roadmap plan. Because oh no, I'm gonna get that a little bit later, Erica. Is that right? Hold on. Or can I give that away now?
It's all right. You can finish your slides. We're cool.
Okay, all right. Because we gotta save something for the remainders. Um, I'll give them this piece on the live Zoom. We'll get the rest of it here. People that have never heard of you, people that have never seen you, people that don't care about you, they don't believe you, they don't trust you, they won't buy from you. That's the starting point. We have to get that person or those people all the way over to a subscriber and a follower and like flip the whole mentality of how we showed up. We walk, if you've been to New York City in the hustle and bustle, especially downtown, people will bump you and keep going, give you the face, and just whatever. Like they, they don't care. You keep on going, move, 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 move. You don't really trust anybody when you go to somewhere you've never been before. It, I mean, you could ask for someone for directions. I've literally seen someone ask. So I was in D.C. because I'm in Virginia. Someone asked for directions, and the person told me, "You go over there and turn it." And I'm thinking to myself, that ain't where that is. You just straight lied to him. Like AI. You don't know what to believe anymore. I was before we jumped on, a good friend of mine, he does graphic design stuff. And so he's always playing with some of the images and stuff. And one of the images he put up today, I was like, whoa, that looks really real. And being someone whose background is in IT and IT security more specifically, like I was always looking for vulnerabilities. I was always looking for things that didn't make sense, things that were a little bit off. And so you had to put up your ears a little bit, and just kind of let me see what this really is. And people are getting fooled left and right. And I'm just like, ooh. They were saying even people, um, younger individuals now are being scammed more often than before. We used to think it was just grandma and grandpa got scammed. The text message came in, said your UPS was trying to be delivered. We can redeliver it, but if you got to pay $25, we thought it was just grandma and grandpa getting that stuff now and falling for it. But now they say it's younger people falling for it. So now we have more scams, more deception type of content out there. I got to get this person that has never seen me, never heard of me, could care less about me, doesn't believe me, doesn't trust me. I got to get them all the way over to being a follower and a subscriber. That's a process. That's a process. All right. So we'll do some. We'll get to the rest of during the Q and A because that's the meat of it. Now, if Erica says, "Hey, Monty, go ahead and just get into it," then that's the mentality I go into creating content with. Is that's the person I have to convince that my content is worthy of being consumed. So I'm looking at the clock, Erica. I try to do my best to obey by time.
No worries. This was good stuff. I only cut it off after 45 minutes because I want people watching via the live stream to be like, hey, I'm missing out. I could have had a question and answer session with Monty Weaver, but I'm not. That's why I cut him off. Give a little fear of missing out. But you know what? Yeah, let's go ahead and do that. I'm sure everybody that's actually on here with us have some questions for you. But please tell everybody where they can reach you.
Yeah, they can find me. Where's my slide deck here? YouTube, Monty Weaver official. A lot of techie stuff over there. I see some of my friends are on the Zoom, so I'm sure they've already subscribed to the channel. They've followed me over there. And then creatorstrong.com. That's a community I've stood up here more recently to teach educators, provide them a place where they can ask questions, get some news updates, things that are going on in this creator industry. Place for me to teach and hang out. I love to share insights. You know, people are working, people are busy. So if I can share and condense some things down and say, hey, take a look at this, I think this will work for you. Just stood that up more recently. And then Amazon, Amazon.com. Actually just did a live stream here recently of the new studio space conversion. So that's the latest video that's on there. So those three places are the best to find me.
All right. Well, thank you for your time. Thank you for sharing with us and everybody who's watching via the live stream. If you want to find and speak with more brilliant people like Monty Weaver, you need to join the Virtual Summiteers peer group. Okay, stopping the live stream.